I think a rangefinder is an essential piece of kit, but can a rangefinder from a brand you've probably never heard of that claims to be as good as the big brands but sells on Amazon for significantly less money really be that good? Well, let's find out. So this is the Cigman CT-1000 rangefinder. So when I opened up the box, I was pleasantly surprised at the quality of the product. Now, it doesn't scream super premium by any stretch of the imagination. It's made mainly of metal, but it does have this rubberized textured pad on the bottom and also on the top by the button you press to get your yardage. So actually, when you hold it, you get a very, very secure grip on those rubberized parts. It does have a cart magnet on the side as well. And it's obviously got the slope button here as well. And it all feels pretty solid. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart. It doesn't feel like it's cheaply made. But at the same time, it doesn't scream super premium like you would get with like a Bushnell or a Garmin product, for example. But for the money you're paying for it, I think that the build quality is pretty damn good. So, one thing I did just forget to mention earlier is that the Cigman does come with a carry case. It's a very basic, completely unbranded carry case, but you know what? It does the job. It holds your rangefinder nice and securely. You can attach it to your bag. You can just simply take the rangefinder in and out. If it's raining, you can zip it up and it will completely keep it waterproof. There's a little band there that also locks it over the top, like so. So yeah, it may not be as nice a carry case as I've got with bigger brands, but at the end of the day, it does the job. I've got the specs here for 4 different rangefinders, and I'll bring this up on the screen now. So we've got the Cigman CT-1000, which is obviously the rangefinder that we're trying from Amazon, the ShotScope Pro L2, which is the one that I use all the time, the Bushnell Pro X3, and the Garmin Z82. So they're 2 really premium products. The ShotScope is a mid-end product, and then the Cigman is obviously the brand that we don't know. So let's start with price. So if it's green on the chart here, it means that it's the best in that category. So the Cigman is the best price. I actually checked today before starting this video, and it's actually come down to $129.99. So it's actually come down another £10. So that is £20 cheaper than the ShotScope, but then obviously significantly cheaper than the Bushnell Pro X3 at $550 and the Garmin at $550 as well. So, you know, what do you get for that extra money? Well, does the Cigman have slope? Yes, it does, as do all the other 3. So it's not lost anything there. Target lock vibration? Yes, as the other 3 do. Distance range in yards? So it's got a maximum of 1,093, which is the second best out of all of these rangefinders. Now, I have to say, as good as that is, when do you ever need to measure a yardage of 1,000 yards? I would imagine that's more for the hunting sort of the hunting category rather than the golf rangefinder category. But even still, it's the second best in the test and outperforms the Garmin and the ShotScope. Zoom magnification, it's equal best at ×7 along with the Bushnell. Accurate to 1 yard, yes, they all are. Does it have a cart magnet? Yes, it does, as do all the others. Replaceable battery. So this is where one of the things I really like about the Cigman, because the Cigman is USB rechargeable, so you don't have to buy batteries for this rangefinder. It comes with a USB lead. You just plug it in and charge it up the night before your game. And you know that you've got a load of power and you don't have to keep buying batteries. So I think that's a real plus point. And again, on the warranty, you get a 3-year warranty with the Cigman, which outperforms the others in this comparison test. So as you can see there, actually, this rangefinder stacks up really well against the competition with its spec and its warranty and its USB rechargeable, which I think is a positive thing. So actually, that was really surprising. Its spec is really good. But now let's see how it's actually been performing on the golf course for the last month that I've been using it. When you hold the Cigman, like I said earlier on, it's got two rubberized parts which make it really easy to hold nice and firmly. Then the display is very clear, and the lock onto the pin is incredibly quick. So all of that is very good. If there's one criticism I had of it, is that I think it's trying to be too accurate. This is the only rangefinder I've ever had that actually gives you a yardage to a decimal point. So a lot of times you'll zap it and you'll say, I don't know, get 97.5, and then you might zap it again just to get another reassuring one. And like all rangefinders will give you maybe two slightly different yardages. So, you get a 97.5 and then it gives you a 98.2. And like, there's only 0.7 of a yard's difference, but because it's trying to be so accurate, it seems like it's got two vastly different yardages. It hasn't. It's just that those two numbers appear further away from each other than what they are because of the decimal point. If I was Cigman, I'd just lose the decimal point and just do it to a round yardage. I've been using the Cigman for 6 weeks now while I've been testing it. And I've got to say, never found any issues with it. Never questioned the information that it was giving me. I always have, although I've not today, I forgot it today. I usually have my GPS watch, so whatever my GPS watch was telling me and then what the rangefinder was telling me was never information that didn't tally up. It always made sense. And like, we're gonna do some testing in two different scenarios on these next two holes. But at the end of the day, what do you need a rangefinder to do? Well, you need it to give you an accurate yardage, and you need to get a lock on a pin, and it does that. So, the optics on it are really good. No matter how far away I am, I get a crystal clear view of the flag that I'm trying to obviously zone in on. It has a remarkably good lock onto the pin, probably the fastest I've ever had on a rangefinder. So, there's a lot to like. Okay, so I'm on the 14th at Pleasanton, and this is my shot scope, which is my trusty rangefinder of many years, and that is giving a yardage of 97 yards, and the Cigman is giving a yardage of 98 yards. So, okay, a yard difference. It's hard to know which one's correct, to be honest, but obviously they're both within a very small amount of yardage. So yeah, like I say, I've never had any reason to think that the Cigman isn't accurate. We're actually going to give it a much more thorough test on the next hole because we've got a significant amount of slope. So we're on the beautiful 15th hole here at Pleasanton. It's a beautiful par 4. Dog legs from the tee back there, sweeps down into this valley, and then there's a massive elevation change going up here. So this is a great opportunity for us to test the slope on the rangefinder. Now, slope is something that you have to decide whether you think it is important to you, because in case you don't know, you can't use slope in a competition. It's not allowed. But I think it's a very useful thing to have for when you play practice rounds. If I was playing a practice round here, I would come down on my practice round, I would make a note that this slope from that oak tree up to the pin on the green is, maybe it's 10 yards. I would note that down, so then when I take my my yardage with my rangefinder, I then add that yardage on. It is a useful thing to have, but you can't use it in competition. So let's start with the shot scope. The shot scope is giving 138 with a slope yardage of 153. Now, when you turn the slope on the Cigman, it just gives you the slope yardage. It doesn't give you the two yardages. So 153 on the shot scope and 152.5. So 0.5 of a yard difference. So again, like I said earlier, I've never found anything with this Cigman to suggest that it's not given an accurate yardage. And at the end of the day, why would it? Because these rangefinders basically shoot a laser out of it that hits the flag and then bounces the signal back and gives you a yardage. So they're always going to be accurate, whichever brand you decide to use. We started off this video with the question of whether an unknown rangefinder brand off Amazon could actually be very good. And the answer to that, much to my surprise, is definitely yes. We saw on the tech specs with this product that actually it stacks up incredibly well against a lot more expensive rangefinders. It works, it does everything that you want it to do. I don't feel like the build quality is going to be any problem whatsoever moving forwards. It does come with a 3-year warranty. It's been a big surprise, I've got to admit. Am I going to change it from my shot scope? No, I'm not, because the only thing it does over my shot scope is actually be USB rechargeable. That for me is not enough for me to actually change. But I would have no problem using this product whatsoever, as in trusting it and using it in competition. None whatsoever. So the question at the start of this video was, can an unknown branded or an unknown brand? So the question was at the start of this video, could a rangefinder from a pretty unknown brand in the UK anyway, off Amazon, actually be very good? Well, much to my surprise, the answer to that has been yes. As we saw on the tech early on in this video, it stacks up incredibly well against a lot more expensive rangefinders. So if you're looking for a rangefinder that's got an incredibly good spec, as in its range, its zoom, it's got slope, it's very, very easy to use, it locks on very well. I mean, it does everything that you want it to do very, very well. Again, I don't think the build quality is going to be a problem. I don't see this thing falling apart or breaking down on you. There's a lot to like about this. Am I going to change from my shot scope to start using this? No, I'm not, because the only thing that this has that my shot scope doesn't have is the USB rechargeable, which is just a little port that's in the back of the rangefinder there. And that's not enough for me to change, because I've used that rangefinder for so long. It's my trusty little friend, if you like. But if I had to use this rangefinder, I would have no problems with using it whatsoever. So, you know, some people, £130 might still be a lot of money for a rangefinder. And there are certainly cheaper ones on the market. I don't know what the quality of those cheaper ones are like, because I've never used them. But I think for the price point on this and the spec that you get and how I've come across using it, I think that actually you're getting a lot of rangefinder for your money, and you won't go far wrong in getting one of these Cigman CT-1000. The only thing that I would have if I was buying this as a slight sort of problem down the line is the fact that if I did have a problem with it, you're going to be dealing with a company that's in the Far East, and you're going to be going back through Amazon. Yes, you get a 3-year warranty, whereas with ShotScope, it's a UK company. I like to support UK companies, and if I ever have a problem with my ShotScope, then I know that I can deal with them very quickly because they're based in the UK and they're a UK company. As it happens, I've had numerous ShotScope products, watches and rangefinders, and I've never had a problem with one of them. But if I do, I've got a bit of peace of mind there. I don't know, maybe it would just be a little bit of a problem trying to get this sorted out. You know, you're probably going to have to send it back to either Amazon or the Far East, and that might be a bit of a pain. But in the time that I've been using it, I've had nothing to suggest that this is going to have any problems, and you are going to have a problem with it. But that might be just something that's worth bearing in mind. Okay. That's it for this video. Hope you liked it. Please get in the comments. Let me know what your rangefinder is, whether you think that this actually does have a good spec for its money, and maybe you're thinking of getting one. Please let me know in the comments. Okay, I will see you in the next video.